Okay, it's Tuesday, April 11th. This is an end of the day SPY recap, and today we end up with a two-up red day where we kind of made a new high relative to yesterday as anticipated after this green bar, but sold off a little at the end to close red. We held the midpoint of yesterday, so the bias was always to the upside. And given the fact we have a big economic number tomorrow, it looks like the market wanted to be cautious ahead of that. Without that number just on its own, you'd look at a chart bar like this and you'd think we're two up on this bar, two up again, and now we're closer to a two down reversal, which could kind of broaden out, below this area here should we start down tomorrow. But that number is going to be a big thing in the morning, so we'll see where that leads price. In terms of the bigger picture, what's kind of unfolding now is the weekly chart is still green, but now for 2 weeks in a row, after this big run up, we're starting to get congestion. I remember we had that back in here for a while. This was like 3 weeks of congestion before we broke to the downside. And now after this big run up, we're just kind of pausing back and forth. If you zoom out the daily chart since the beginning of April, again, going kind of sideways. And if you zoom out the 15-minute chart, there are all sorts of potential now. Lower lows, higher highs, lower lows, higher highs. Now we'll see if we make a little lower low into this area before we go up. So, we're getting a little choppy in terms of price action, but there's still, opportunities. So today, given the fact, we were biased to the upside, we saw the gap up, we anticipated maybe a little bit of a red to green move to start. That's exactly what happened. You started out red here, and that was kind of a signal you were going to take out that pre-market lows. You did that here on bar number 4. If you wanted to play this as the first red to green move, I didn't at the time because, you red to green, and then the very second this bar opened, it started lower and it just kind of accelerated. You would have, let's say you got long here at the very end of this bar, you would have typically got stopped out somewhere, on the next bar, midpoint of that, because that's what I like to see on those red to green moves. Instead, it came down and it had a red to green here with a new 2 up. I bought some calls here and I shot a video on that, and this was the proper one. It reached its first target, which was the pre-market, the high of the day, intraday high, and then after that, pausing a little bit, it worked its way up to the pre-market high before the very last, couple of bars where it sold off near the end of the day. So we'll see where you open tomorrow after those CPI numbers come out. Monthly chart is still green and heading higher, but we seem to be in a little chop now. So is it possible that we could go to, eventually, start lower tomorrow on the daily signal and turn this chart red? Yeah, but we have to get below the yellow line here. So on the daily chart, if we go 2 down and hold, then that's kind of the target to turn the weekly chart red. So we'll be on, watch for a potential reversal, but then you're going to have to get a 2 down week with 2 days to go. I don't think you're going to reach that target. So maybe we're going to have to kind of, if it goes lower, get a 2 down week and then sort of wait for a kind of reversal on the weekly chart. For now, though, all we are is just an inside bar of last week, and that's why it's kind of it's just 2 days into the week, a little bit of an up bias, but we're in the overall chop area of the last 6 or 7 days. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Today was the day just to kind of try to look for the red to green move and then ride that for as long as you needed to for decent gains on the day. There were also some good short trades in the morning. I sold Apple or bought Apple puts, and that was a good trade to the short side. Moderna also had a push down early before it reversed up. So there were some early trades to the downside given the way the SPY opened up, but overall you were kind of biased to the upside. And you could see here the way the market generally tried to work its way to where it was supposed to be going. I just think it needs to be cautious here, the sell-off ahead of the number tomorrow. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but we probably will, given this bar, take out the low of that day. It's just a question at that point, do you continue all the way to the target down here, turn the weekly chart red, or do you kind of fail, reverse, and come to the midpoint of that bar to the upside? That'll be a strong buy signal if we get a 2 down, but fail and then eventually reverse to the upside. So I think a big part of that will be how the price action unfolds after the inflation data tomorrow. So let's see what happens.